ॐ सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरंपरा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Very well, let us look at the verse number 4. सत्यं केचित् प्रशंसन्ते तपः शौचं तथा परे क्षमां केचित् प्रशंसन्ति तथैव समम् आर्जवम्। As we have been discussing that how this people keeps differing, even the purpose of teaching, and that too the role of the Ishvara, the God, is nothing but to give you freedom, to facilitate freedom, of course through teaching. But how each one is interpreting different. So this from verse number 4 to 16, as we discussed already, we'll be discussing that differences of opinion, as we say, bhinna muti, bhinna muni, bhinna vataha. Beautiful way of looking at. Please understand. I would like to give you a little bit summary so that it becomes easier for you to approach or understand. And remember, when they are going to point out, or already we have seen verse number 4, how it was being discussed. So that means, do you think that all of them are wrong? It's not like that. The problem is in the basic understanding. How? There's a beautiful description goes not only in India, all over the world. And many Swamijis do highlight this aspect. As one of the Swami, who happens to be very famous, he said this statement. Like, to go to the temple, there are 4 doors. You can approach any door. You can go through from eastern door or western door, northern door or southern door. Any door you approach, you can go to sanctum sanctorum, to the temple. And you don't have to go all the time through only eastern door. Wherever you are, from there you can approach. This is perfect logical, absolutely no problem. That's how they highlighted it. That's why there are 4 yogas, 4 paths. For emotional people, Bhakti Yoga. For intellectual, Raja Yoga. I don't want to get into all the details, you know better than me. So wherever you are, if you are an emotional person, you don't have to break for this knowledge and all these things. Just have some devotion, develop devotion. That will do, because it's like approaching the temple. So logically, it convinces everybody. But the fundamental problem here is, my purpose is not to go to temple. The main purpose of going to the temple is not to just see the temple or see the sculptures, see all other things are preached and anybody, but my purpose to go to the temple is to see God. If the purpose is to see the temple, maybe to see the sanctum sanctorium, then definitely I can approach any one gate, absolutely no problem. All the gates are useful. But my purpose is here to see God. So when I have to see the God, now tell me, what is the means do I have other than opening my eyes? I need my eyes to keep it open. Of course, mind has to be there. Then only I'll be able to see God over there. Can you see how the basic fundamental point is not being questioned? So also here. So because there is a confusion with reference to freedom, with reference to liberation, with reference to different aspect of life, especially somebody says going to heaven is a freedom. Somebody says having power is a freedom. Somebody says being nothing is a freedom or liberation. So each one talks liberation or freedom differently. And based on their standpoint, their convenience, now they establish that this is the means. And that is what is being highlighted. The first, in the fourth verse number 4, we said, Satyam kechin prasansanti. Some people highlight speaking truth will lead or will bring or will give liberation. Some people say, no, you need to do tapa, austerity. Some people say, no, you have to go for saucham, because unless you do this outer purification and inner purification, tapam have no meaning. Some people say, no, kshama, practice forgiveness, that you know better. So better practice, because that do they highlight. And some people say, no, you have to practice equanimity. When there is good, you should be calm. When there is bad, also you should be calm. Every time you should be calm. For you, everything should be same. If somebody slaps at you, so another cheek. If somebody puts a garland, oh good. You don't have to say, as though you do not know. You know nothing. So that means what? You have to be always the same. And some people say, no, you have to be straight forward. What do you think? That of course you have to speak and you have to function accordingly. So that means you should not hide indirectly, you should not hide your emotions. You should be always straightforwardness. Can you see how each one contradicts each other? That's why there is a lot of fight. Goes on and on the list. Let us look at the list, few list. Because whatever list is being taught, deep within, somewhere you have some soft corner. That's what is being highlighted here. It's not only that one group exists. There are religion or religious practices is completely developed based on this. There are organizations till now also exist, or new organizations are coming up based on this one aspect. But that is not our point. Point is deep within. You will also have some type of soft corner for this. Now if you have that soft corner, please look at very carefully why and how. And really, is it going to give you the liberation, the freedom, or it is going to give you something or other? That's the main purpose here, to discuss or to really see elaborately. Verse number 5. Kechit danam prasansanti pitru karma tatha pare kechit karma prasansanti kechit vairagyamuttamam. Once more. Kechit danam prasamsanti pitru karma tatha pare kechit karma prasamsanti kechit vairagyamuttamam. Says beautifully. Of course, some people do highlight dhanam, giving to the right person at right time in a right manner. Giving something to a right person, of course, in a right attitude, right place, right manner. That means when you have got some opportunity, give it. Nothing to hold on, because in life there is nothing to hold on either. So some people says that actually is a means for liberation. If you keep giving, definitely you will be liberated. And also they do create a lot of stories. Then some people says, no, you need to do rituals. That too made in the honor of one's own ancestors, one's own forefathers. Like if your parents are no more, or grandparents are no more, for all your departed souls, you are supposed to do rituals. There are certain rituals to be done. We'll be seeing later on, because that comes under, we'll talk in details, that comes under namitika karma. And if you don't do, this is the problem, you incur some type of omission and commission, because it's omission, comes under omission, because you have not done. But by doing, you are not going to gain anything. So that's why it is called mandatory work. So some people say, no, pitru karma. So you need to do rituals. And if you take care of your ancestors, definitely liberation is granted for you. Some people say, no. All these things not necessary. You need to take care of your day-to-day activities. Kechid karmam prasamshanti. So when it says karmam prasamshanti, that day-to-day activities must be taken care. You should be, always alert. You must know what you are doing. You must know what you are going to achieve. You must be very clear in your approach. No ambiguity at all. That gives freedom, because we do not know whether freedom comes or not, but at least you know what you are doing. This, some group of people do highlight this. Some people say all these things are not, because by doing this thing, each one try to contradict each other. Don't worry if you look at in details here. Some people says, look, if you do this thing, definitely you will get involved, you will get attached, you will get dragged. That's why vairagyam is uttamam. Dispassion or developing some type of space between what you are doing and what you are, or you can say what you have and who you are, or you can say wherever you are, creating sense of objectivity is a must. You need to develop dispassion, because dispassion only gives you freedom, because the more you are attached, more you have problem in your life. And the bondage is nothing but just opposite of. Or you can say, wherever there is attachment, there is bondage. So that's why you need to develop this detachment. So that's why you become a free person. And some people, what do they say? Verse number 6, let's look at. Kechit gruhastha karmani prashansanti vichakshana agnihotradikam karma तथा केचित् परं विदो केचित् गृहस्थकर्माणि प्रशंसन्ति विचक्षणाः अग्निहोत्रादिकं कर्म तथा केचित् परं विदो. Goes on and on. केचित् गृहस्थकर्माणि प्रशंसन्ति. Some smart people, not ordinary people, do highlight that the performing or the performance of the duties of householder, as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a mother, whatever role I have to play, I have to do that. And if I take care of my family, definitely I am in heaven, because in fact they say the family life is heavenly life. So that is what they highlight. Some people says, no, not necessarily. Because when different type of people are in the family, and of course they do go out and come, they will be influenced, there will be some type of issue. So that means you need to take care of energetically ashtanga. So what you do? Agnihotraadikam karma. Tatha kechid param viduhu. Some learned people do highlight, do talk. In fact, they really hold on to So what they do? They say, fire ritual, etc. So along with the fire ritual, dhanam comes. Because fire ritual you cannot do so. So along with the fire ritual, you need to do dhanam. You need to have all the satyam, lot of other values follows along with the fire ritual. So that is the means for liberation they do talk. So now each one starts talking from their standpoint. Now let us look at verse number 7. Mantra yogam prasamsanti kechit tirthanusevanam evam bahunupayansthu pravadante muktaye. Mantra yogam prasamsanti kechit tirthanusevanam evam bahunapayamsthu pravadante muktaye. So all these people do talk only for liberation, and of course each one talks differently. So here some people talk differently. Some people highlight mantra yoga. So in a mantra yoga, chanting a mantra, you know, there is a cult, a lot of people are there. So that's why, as I told you, for each that is being taught, you will find one group available. And they say that that is liberation. In fact, they always work and they are always highlighting or looking at that this is their liberation. So he says that mantra yoga, just keep chanting the name of Lord. By that, you will definitely be liberated. Just keep doing job. And some people will say, no. You need to visit different pilgrim places. The birthplace of Lord, that's in every religion, remember, this concept is there. That's why all the pilgrimage places becomes most crowded. Now because of Corona, actually that place is very happy. But those who are inside, they are very unhappy. Because when crowd doesn't come, they don't get anything. That's another issue. So me being here, I can understand how people are. Because especially pilgrim places completely flourishes or depends upon the crowd, the devotees. And they always try to fool, they try to misguide so that people do whatever. And always there are a lot of stories behind it. So each stone, each pillar, each statue or each movement will have some story. If there is no story, they create a story so that people get more and more attracted. And of course, same people will go 10 times because I did not see that aspect. Or they will say, if you come 10 times or 20 times regularly, this will happen, that will happen. That's why they do create something or other, the movement to continue. However, that's not our purpose here. Purpose is here. Also people do highlight, these are the things they highlight, that going to pilgrimage places, why and how, there are a lot of psychological impact which I don't want to talk because that's not our purpose. Or else I can talk what happens and how and why they highlight this. So going to pilgrimage places, one will be liberated. That's why each one do talk differently. Then he says next beautifully, evam vyavasita loke krutya krutya vido jana vyamohameva gacchanti vimukta papa karmavihi. This is a beautiful way of looking at verse number 8. Evam vyavasita loke krutya krutya vido jana vyamohameva gacchanti vimukta papa karmavihi. Evam vyavasita loke krutya akrutya vido janaha. So the janaha, those people, those who know what is to be done and what is not to be done. They are very clear, they are aware of it. The action what are to be done and actions that what are not to be done. Then what they do is, that is what they do is, they get engaged in this world differently. Knowing that what are to be done, what are not to be done. So that means what are not to be done, they withdraw. What are to be done, they do engage. So in the process what they do is, that's the beautiful point, it says that. So in the process, they make themselves free from vimuktaha papa karma bhihi. So definitely they make themselves free from omissions and commissions. Especially he says papa karma bhihi. So make themselves free from that action which is going to lead difficulties. The result of action which will really bring difficulties in life. So definitely, or you can say better way, that they lead a life where they are free from conflict. So they do live conflict-free life. But he says, vyamohameva gachanti. They keep doing the work in such a way, then what happens? They become subject to live in a mechanical way of living. There is a confusion. And when there is a confusion, this is to be done, that is not to be done, then they keep repeating. Mechanically, they do function in their life. And a group of people, they do function. You can see. And let us look at the verse number 9. Etan matavalambiyaho. Etan matavalambiyaha. Labdhva durita punyake. Brahmatityavasah sotra. Janma mrityu parampara. Etan matalambiyaha. Labdhva durita punyake. Brahmatityavasah sotra. Janma mrityu parampara. Such a nice way of looking at. He says that Yetan vatalambi yaha. Of course, what happens? The person who follows these methods, that whatever we discussed, definitely gets committed to action. Then what happens? In result, definitely, now the person is bound with the result of action in the form of papam and punya. Now when the person is bound, it is like when I clap, create one action, sound comes. Now when sound comes, there is repercussion. So when all other people are there, suppose a child is there, suddenly I clap, made a sound. Now the child is scared. Now child makes a noise. So whether I like it or not, I have to give some attention to the child. Suppose if I ignore, again I will think in the night, why did I ignore? First of all, why did I clap? If I clap, nothing, okay, no wrong in it because I wanted to give an example. Then why didn't I take care? Now any action, it brings another type of reaction, and that reaction, if it is not looked into action format, then it becomes reaction. So that's why we all get into this action and reaction chain. So in the process, we are tied down. Looks like our hands are tied down. That's why he says, because of which the person wanders restlessly in this world. Does not know what to do. That's why the previous verse, whatever says, completely mechanical way of living. Sometimes you do not know why you are working. What for you are working. Still you keep working. Don't you feel sometime in life? And of course, if you feel this, he says, not only here you keep wandering, you keep moving restlessly, also you become part of this cycle of life and death. That means today you are alive. After few years, that's a really great thing to know. Death never gives intimation. When it is going to come to whom, nobody knows. That is the best policy of death. Thank God. Imagine if we all know when we are going to die, what will do? Life will be disaster. Some people will be worried. Some people will get engrossed the way they want, and some people will go more and more wild. So thank God, I would rather say, But here, remember, you become part of this cycle of death and life, or life and death. Now you are alive, you are going to die. So death is not enough. After death, again you are going to be born in different form. Maybe sometime you will hang around. So that hanging around, that is also another type of life. Remember, that is not death, Adida. So that means you will go through changes in life. You will keep traveling all the time in a cycle format. That is how people live. Next verse says, Anni matirmatam sreshtai guptalokanatah parei atmano bahava prokta nitya sarvagatas tatha. Verse number 10. Anni matirmatam sreshtai guptalokanatah parei atmano bahava prokta nitya sarvagatas tatha. Says beautifully to need to really look at. Anni matirmatam sreshtai. So they consider themselves as their greatest thinker. They are greatest among thinkers. So there is some type of pride in them. But what do? Gupta lokanatat pareihi. Always they investigate about this occult power. They get into all this power mode. How to get this occult power? And they think they are the people who manipulate, who manage the universe. That's why they are called as Annihi Matrimatam Seshtaihi. Fantastic, nothing wrong in it. And not only that, they say also, all these ideas which has been taught, Prokta Nitya, they do talk. What do they talk? That Atmanaha Vaha Prokta, souls are many. And not only many, they are eternal. That means all are different. Each one, Atmas are many, and each one is different. So that's why you have to fight, you have to be more powerful than others. So all the life they keep struggling or do follow lot of tricks and techniques to become powerful. And interestingly, they themselves contradict, they do not know. They also say, Sarvagatas tatha. Also this Atma, the soul, whatever they say, is omnipresent. So it is everywhere, at the same time eternal. Because it and many, eternal, omnipresent and many cannot go together. But the whole focus is here for them is how to be more powerful. That's why to become powerful, they do establish all these points so that they try to work for it. So these are the group also there. Next verse. Yat yat pratyaksha vishayam tadanyan nasti chakshate kutah surgadayah santi ityenne nischita manasa. Yat yat pratyaksha vishayam tadanyat nasti chakshate kutah surgadayah santi ityenne nischita manasa. Of course, you will not see the translation, which I have not done. I was looking at, so good, no problem, says beautifully. So there are also people, as we see very differently, carefully, they do talk what is all about, that there is only one thing exists, which is perceived through our eyes, and nothing besides them exists. And do they say also one step ahead, Kuta Surgadaya iti? Where does this heaven or hell exist? That means in reality there is no hell or there is no heaven. And of course their belief, Nischita Manasaha, their belief is very strong. They are very strong in their thinking. So that means what they say, look, whatever is in front of my eyes, That is the truth, that is the reality. Why to bother about this hell, heaven? All these stories have been created, cock and bull stories, just to confuse you, to bend down this and that. So one type of group of people also do live their life in this way. Then comes next verse. Jnana pravaha ityanye shunyam kechit param vido dvaveva tattvam manyate pare prakriti purusho. This is one type of group of people, really interestingly. Generally, they believe in prakriti and purusha, especially Sankhyas. Because each one has got group, and of course in day-to-day life you can see, which will summarize after 2 verses, after 4 verses. So others do believe that this world is nothing, but it is only consciousness, no matter, nothing. And of course they say this is completely shunya. That's why nothingness they highlight. And when they discover nothingness works, that's why called mindfulness. So they say that this is everything shunyam iti. So they do highlight this nothingness, and that is what life is. And some people say, no, not like that. Please understand, the essence of this is prakriti and purusha, the matter and the spirit, the consciousness. When they come together, that is how this world. So another group of people do highlight this. And fine, then again verse number 13. Please don't understand, these are the different type of disposition, mind that you have in your life, day-to-day life. That's why you can see. Next is Atyanta bhinnamatayah paramartha parang mukha eva mannetu sanchitya yathamati yathashrutam nirishwaramidam prahuhu seswarancha tatha pare saishwara seswarancha tatha pare vadanti vividher vedehi suyuktyastithi katara. I know today you don't have much choice. I have to complete this 16 so that I'll go very carefully. So this 2 verses highlights again nothing. So each one do talk differently, do think differently. So they, of course, in the process, they turn away from their supreme goal. They think according to their understanding and education, both, that this universe is without God. So they think, where is God? Nothing. Nishwaram idam prahu. But other believes, no, saiswaram cha. What are you talking? Without God, how can you? You know the story. We'll be discussing that. So other believes, no, there is God. And that is the basis of everything. And of course, what are you talking? And always they keep engaging themselves in the arguments. And each one do talk, also bring their yukti, their logic, and also they do bring their scriptures to establish and whether God is there or not. So each one really anxious to establish the existence of God or not. And of course they do say there is a difference between soul and God. Badanti vividehi vedehi suyuktya stithikatara. So that means here again highlighting that how different type of thoughts a person goes through in day-to-day life. And of course this with these 2 verses that will summarize. Ete chanye cha munayah sangya vedah pruthak vidha Sastreshu kathita hyete loko लोकव्यामोहकारकाः एतत् विवादशीलानां मतं वक्तुं न शक्यते भ्रमन्त्यस्मिन् जनाः सर्वे मुक्तिमार्गबहिष्कृताः. Says these are many other people, thinkers with various way of thinking, and they also they have been declared in the Shastra as the leaders of human being. Please understand, they are considered by the scripture very nicely said that they are the Vyomoha Karakaha. So they are the leader, or they are the leader creating confusion in the human mind. And of course, it is very difficult to describe fully about their doctrines, their really the way they function, and of course, how they fight with each other to establish their standpoint, how they go about. It is very difficult to describe. And of course, people thus keep wandering in this universe, being driven away from the path of liberation. Let us summarize very carefully. We have seen all these details. Just observe your life. Where do you start? Because here this text gives a few samples, and of course there are plenty of samples you can see with you and of course nearby you people. That each one think that this is the liberation, this will give me freedom, let me do this, let me do that. Because in life basically what you do, whatever you are doing, it's just only for freedom, only for liberation, nothing else. And especially present day, if we observe that by default we all are having some comfort or other. And especially this Corona taught all of us a beautiful lesson that without many things we can survive. Please understand. Jocularly somebody said, seeing this Indian context, this is a beautiful way of looking at. So when this lockdown got opened yesterday, so they wrote, the essential, okay, in the beginning also they said, all over world, the essential need will be taken care. Means the essentials needs will be opened. Wherever the essential things. All extra things, unnecessary things or additional things, not essential, will remain closed. And under that category comes what? Educational institutions, closed. So one person said, oh, that means 30 years of my life wasted. Just spending time or studying on unnecessary things, not essential thing at all. And of course, we can go one step ahead. I don't want to talk. It's a very jocular thing. It is not right to say. Each one try to understand differently. And of course, here, at least this Corona taught us one thing, that we can live without many things in our life. We can live without our friends. We can live without our nearer ones and dearer ones. Please understand very carefully. Because there are days, suppose your father or mother, if they are in other town, you have survived over phone once in a while talking. Maybe sometimes you have survived in a better way. Please understand. And if you want to go or you have gone, it's not anything else because of sense of dependence. You need to grow out of that also. So that means whatever we do in our day-to-day life is only for liberation, for happiness. Both are one answer. But without knowing exactly what is that. That's why, as we discussed a list here, one series. So each one do function in a systematic way, and they also highlight that they are right. That's the very painful thing. You just look at yourself. Whenever you do something, do you justify? Do you highlight? Are you not convinced that you are right? Because you do the same thing. That is what is being highlighted here. So when each one is engaged in their way of thinking, and they think that is the ultimate, that will give them liberation. They do engage themselves. As I started the example, remember, our purpose is not to go to the temple. If the purpose is to go inside the temple, please understand. If the purpose is to go inside the temple, you can take the help of any door you want, or especially wherever you are, or whichever door is nearer to you, closer to you. That's perfectly right. But the purpose of going temple is not to, please understand, not to go inside the temple, not to socialize, not to hang around, not to see the monument. But the main purpose of the going to temple is to see the deity, to see the God. When the main purpose of the, please understand, main, not main, that is the purpose actually. When that is the purpose of going to temple, now tell me, what means should you use? This eastern door or western door, northern or southern, all the doors are helpful to reach the temple, to reach the sanctum sanctorium. But once you reach the sanctum sanctorium, please understand, to see the God, you need only one means of knowledge, that is called your eyes. And that is what is called pramana. So also here, all these methods that is being taught definitely are useful, necessary, because based on your vasanas, based on your impressions, based on your previous life karma and many other things, definitely are useful to overcome, to exhaust both. First you need to exhaust and overcome. Because sometimes we are being dragged. We are dancing based on our prarabdha. Of course we try to nullify, we try to manage, we try our level best to do many things, still something remains. That's why sometimes you have to go through, but go through consciously. That's why we say very carefully, never ever run away from anybody or anything in life. Always jocularly I say, wherever I have tried to run away, there definitely I get caught in a bigger way. Sometimes I see also, whenever you have seen, whenever I want to withdraw from some people, that I have seen it. The moment I try to withdraw, I'm fed up of mentally, to be very honest, sometimes it happens to me. I'm fed up of, okay, leave that person. Then what happens, once I withdraw, then after that I discover things go wrong, worse with the person. Then what I do? I start cursing myself, oh, okay, why did I withdraw mentally? Okay, doesn't matter. Now let me again reopen the account. That is what, because I have seen for myself, why to waste my time and my life, let it continue the way it is. So what I am trying to highlight here is, all these things are required. Whatever you are doing is good, but remember, all these things must give you emotional maturity, remember, or technically chitta suddhi. If you are doing all these things for your emotional growth, emotional maturity, whatever you are doing, absolutely no problem. You are going to the office, please understand, for your emotional maturity. You are taking care of your family for emotional maturity. You are doing this or that for emotional maturity, for emotional growth. Absolutely no problem. That is what called karma yoga. You do everything with healthy attitude. But remember, along with that you need jnanam, the knowledge. And what is that jnanam or knowledge? Please understand the verse number 17. So here, 3 verses talks really beautifully, which I think we'll talk in the next class. Because as I don't have text, I have not supplied text. You people, it doesn't look nice. Opens up very carefully, says these 3 verses. Yoga is the method, is a true method. And this verse number 17, 18 and 19 talks about it, and which really starts with beautifully. I can just introduce, then I'll stop it. Alokya sarva sastrani vicharya cha punah punah idam ekam swanispannam yoga sastram param matam. Says that having studied all the shastras, alokya sarva sastrani vicharya cha punah punah, having analyzed, having thought of, pondered over, then well again and again. Then what happens? Idam, this yoga sastram ekam param matam. This yoga sastra has been found to be the only great approach. And why it is a great approach? Please understand. Here yoga, don't think this, so-called this asana and pranayama. Please understand. That is not yoga. Don't get into confusion. So here, when it says yoga sastram, so yoga is a reunion. We'll be discussing in this in details, in different way, how this yoga is being interpreted in different contexts, which we have talked many times. So here he says beautifully that this shastra is, this scripture is really very apt for this liberation. And whatever we discussed, and of course analyzing again and again, all have got their limitations. And what is this scripture? What does it talk? That we'll see beautifully, because that is one of the biggest statement he makes, which is Upanishadic statement, which we'll see tomorrow. Please close your eyes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.